guys, welcome to Coffee Chat Live. So we're going to start right soon. We're going to play a little bit of guitar first. We're not in tune, but who cares? Here we go. Let's go back to the 1950s with Santo and Johnny. Let's do this. Okay, guys, how are we doing? Great to see you, and it's really nice to be here talking to you guys. We're going to be talking about the guitar channel, the guitar show. We're going to be talking about this YouTube channel today, what we got in store, and also the Coodercaster guitar, how to make them. So this is kind of like a little reference video if you want to build one of these things. Few little opinions and ideas I have about these guitars and how to get into them, how to start playing them. And of course, we're going to drink some coffee. We're going to hang out with some friends. I've since stopped drinking alcohol, so coffee's become more important to me as recent. So we've improved the coffee. We're going for Italian coffee today. Okay, right, Martin, great to see you. Yeah, great to see you, Martin. Martin, we're going to bring up a question that Martin asked me the other day, actually, which was a really cool question. And Martin is a really cool fella. Check out Martin. Martin's music videos. Martin is an amazing guitar player. We studied at music college together a long time ago, and he's a really cool fella. So check him out. Martin's music videos. Check him out. We're actually in D tuning here. My favorite tuning for playing slide guitar is D tuning. Nothing's for, you know, there's some guys playing C and C sharp, but me, I prefer just straight D. I think it's an old Delta tuning. A lot of the It's like an old Mississippi Delta tuning, and it's really, really good. I'm going to show you a few things, little tricks. What's really good about this is that you basically get a line, you know, so it's D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. So you play that and it's a major chord. Play that as a major chord. So your major third is there. So if you're playing this chord here, this chord is a G. Because this note here, not an A. It's not an A, it's a G. So that's a G major. So what is a third of a G is a B. So that note there is a B natural. So there's your B note. There's your. So when you're sliding, you can do. And there's your root. So that's a G. That's a G. That's a fifth. So root, fifth, root, major third, fifth, not fifth there. Root. So it's really easy, you know, it's kind of quite easy to get going. Now, if you want to play it more like a blues guitar, so that would be a G13 chord, which looks like a G minor 11 or A minor 11 in the shape. And then you're going to be a 4 chord. So that chord there is a C9. That's a D9. You could be. So then you've got to work out your blues scale. You know, and everything's in a different place. So that's kind of one thing you're trying to. So what I do is just a little lick here. I'll show you if you want to know how to play this. Yeah, and then I do this. This is the kind of the blues. But you can't play. That's not your root note. That's your root note's here. So you have to change your fingering. I do first finger, third finger, second finger on the root. So it's. You know, so that's you're changing your fingering around with the D major tuning, you know. But really, it's a slide tuning. I use it for slide, you know, which is really, really good. We're talking about this thing here. And you can get these really cool sort of. So that's something you can do on a slide guitar. Sounds so cool. Just simple riffs. You know, it's not going to get much cooler and groovier than that with the slide guitar. We're going to talk about how I made this one in a minute, but let's go to some comments here. Let's have a look. What do we got here? Let's drink some coffee. This is Italian coffee today. It's really nice. Fantastic. You know, good coffee is like, even when it's getting a little bit lukewarm, still tastes amazing when it's good. Right, so Cameron, watching your way out of that. Dr. Alex H says, hello, cool. I have a project building one and some questions. Great. Well, this is the live stream to do. We're gonna talk about the channel in a minute, and then we're gonna get right to the nitty gritty on Coodercasters. Yusuf Kasim says, hey man, what's up? Hey, Yusuf, are you speak Arabic? Salam alaikum. Hope you are well, you know. Todd Roy says, hi from snowy Nova Scotia. So, well, I know Nova Scotia. I first heard about Nova Scotia from the Carly Simon song, You're So Vain. And there's a great line in it. Apparently she wrote it about Warren Beatty. But interestingly, You're So Vain, it has Mick Jagger on the vocals. I don't know if we can get this up. We'll check this out. But Mick Jagger actually sang on the original of You're So Vain, so that's a great vocal actually on that. You know, you need to we need to check that out in a minute. Okay, let's go to another question here. Hello from Detroit, my friend. What kind of telly is that? This is called a Goosecaster. Okay, you've heard of a Telecaster, you've heard of a Stratocaster, you've heard of a Coodercaster. This is a Goosecaster. We're going to talk about this one in a minute. I'm going to talk about it. Let's have a look. Blues in the Hood, Blues in the Blood says, can you make a video of those chords in D so we don't lose them to either once the feed goes offline? And those were. Hey man, thank you, James. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. You know, let's just have a little listen to this. Mick Jagger with Carly Simon. I love that vocal. Check out the vocal of You're So Vain, Carly Simon, and just listen to Mick Jagger's voice. When people say Mick Jagger cannot sing, trust me, he can sing. The guy can sing, man. You know, whenever people say Mick Jagger cannot sing, I say no. Check out the song You're So Vain and listen to his backing vocals. You're so vain. I bet you think the song is about you. Now, you take his vocal out of that song and the chorus is flat. It sounds good because Mick Jagger's singing that. And he's there's some other great songs. He did a reggae song, one of my favorite songs ever. I'll find it in a minute, and we'll play that on the outro. And that's a beautiful song. Okay, right. Aaron says, hi Ramon, you're a great player. Hey man, thank you so much. Shukran, thank you. I share your interest in the Feeling Bad Blue style. Yeah man, Feeling Bad Blue style is all about That's Feeling Bad Blues. Okay, Gary says, good evening to you. Yusuf, thank you very much. Hope you're well. Deja Voodoo says, I could see you backing up Tom Waits with some of that grit. Sounds great, man. Thank you, man. I love Tom Waits. You know, Tom Waits, you know, it's just, Tom Waits has got that kind of... It's kind of a bit messy, but it's groovy. You know, the whole thing with Tom Waits It sounds like it's almost rough. It sounds a very rough style, but it's really in the pocket. It's intentional, but it's amazing. I love Tom Waits, so thank you for mentioning him. Let's go here. So what else we got here? Todd says Solar Eclipse of the Sun. I need to check that out. Is that a song, or are we experiencing that now, Todd? Yeah, thank you. James, pleasure. Grob Knobs, the troll, #1 says, hello, everybody. I've heard of a broadcaster, and I don't mean Carol. Right. Okay. That was an Alan Partridge moment. Has anyone, Alan Partridge, Norwich Knights. I hope no one's from Norwich here, but Norwich, I grew up in Essex, and you've got Essex, Suffolk, and Norfolk, and Norwich is in Norfolk. And we had a great comedian, Steve Coogan, and he started off with this program in England. I don't know if you get it in America or Canada, but it's called Alan Partridge, and he ended up on a Norwich. This is kind of satire, but he ended up in a Norwich radio station, and that was an Alan Partridge moment right there. Okay, where are we? Jagger's a great singer. This is the troll. Jagger is a great singer and frontman, but if I had to be locked in a lift with a Rolling Stone, he'd not be my first choice. Ronnie, Keith, and Charlie are much nicer people to hang out with. Yeah, for me, I prefer Brian Jones. For me, Rolling Stones was all about Brian Jones, and he was a man, Brian Jones. We're going to do some more videos of Brian Jones because I think he was kind of overlooked. And he's one of my favorite guitar players, if not my favorite. For maybe not for playing, but just for his outlook. He's an amazing player. Christopher says, any differences between Coodercaster and a Keithcaster? No, there's no difference whatsoever. Oh, well, I see. Yeah. No, there's not much difference actually. There's not, but we're going to go into that. The main difference between the Keithcaster, I see where you're coming with this. The main difference with the Keithcaster is it has 5 strings, yeah? Because Keith Richards can't deal with the lower string not being the root note, whereas Ry Cooder, more intelligent, he keeps the 6th string, which is a D, which is a 5th. So they're both in G tuning. We're going to talk about this because this is really interesting in a minute. We'll come back to this. Let me finish the questions and we'll come back to that whole thing. Aaron says, do you prefer the Goosecaster above the Coodercaster? The Goosecaster sounds great for dark swampy blues. Is there a difference in the springs of the tremolo? Brilliant question. And again, we're going to come back to this. Can you play Johnny Be Good? Guys, this is not the time for Johnny Be Good, but let me just tell you this about Johnny Be Good, okay? If you cannot play Johnny Be Good, it's sad. It's very sad because Johnny Be Good that's one of the songs that the Discovery satellite put on to discover alien life forms. They've got the capsule, they put it on a gold disc, and they put the song of in digital form of Johnny Be Good. So imagine if an alien came to Earth and you played guitar. You told the alien you play guitar, but what's the alien going to know? He's only going to know one song, which is Johnny Be Good. And so if you cannot play Johnny Be Good, it's sad. You should be ashamed of yourself. So if you can't play it and you don't know it, go away now and learn Johnny Be Good. Learn the intro, okay? Learn it. Okay. Where are we now? And I will play it. I can't play it at the moment because I'm in detuning, but we'll play it. I'll play it at the end of the stream. Gary says, I've just discovered Wicked Games, Chris Isaac. Love that guitar melody. Somebody can tell me the guitar player's name of Chris Isaac. He is amazing, the original guitar. I think maybe he died. I know Bryan Adams, guitar player, he died. He was a great guitar player. But the Chris Isaac guitarist was pretty incredible. So I don't know if he's still alive. Maybe guys, you let me know. So we're going to talk about the channel. We're going to talk about this channel first, and how we're going to be doing this. So from now on, the coffee chats are going to be a live stream only. and I'm going to improve the quality of the video with the camera and the sound. That's my ambition. So that's going to be the coffee chats. We're still going to have the Bob and Ramon show, which I love doing. Bob loves doing. So that's going to be a regular thing once every week or 2 weeks or whatever. It's down to Bob's schedule and my schedule, whatever. But so we're going to do the Bob and Ramon show. We're going to keep doing that. And then apart from those two kind of things, it's only going to be history documentaries. We're not going to do any reviews or lessons on this channel, okay? And there's a reason for that. But reviews, it's like with reviews, you tend to get, what is a reason for doing a review of a piece of gear? Normally, it's because a manufacturer sends you something, and then you've got to say it's great, which is, or you're selling it. You're selling them and getting a cut off it. So I don't really want to do that on this channel. There's loads of channels that do reviews, so we're not going to get involved in that stuff. And I like to have the ability to say a piece of gear is not very good and tell you the truth, rather than having sponsored stuff and that, and then you can't say anything's bad because other companies don't want you to say slag off the other companies. So we want to keep this channel sort of free from any of that promotional stuff. And other than that, we're going to just do documentaries and educational things like, the guitars of such and such a player. And we're going to get involved in a new video. The next video is going to be really, really cool. So the next video I'm putting together, I'm going to give you a clue now what it is. So this is the next documentary. Okay? It's going to give you a clue. Okay, check this out. Check this cool fella. Look at that. What a cool dude. I love this guy. I've had a couple of friends that have actually met him. And and I've actually played one of his amps myself. And the amp was amazing, owned by a friend of mine. So this is the next documentary we are doing on the channel. And you're going to love it. It's going to be fantastic. So I've got a really good friend. Don't want to name drop, but I've got a very amazing friend called Henry Kaiser. And Henry Kaiser was at the beginning, he was there at the beginning when Dumble was first making these amps. And so I want to kind of base this documentary on the beginnings of Dumble and the players like Larry Carlton, Henry Kaiser, Robin Ford, Steve Ray Vaughan, all those kind of guys, Bonnie Raitt, Stephen Bruford, Chris Christopherson's friend, all those kind of guys that were there in the beginning. That's really what the focus is going to be, not who owns one now, but how Dumble evolved with the help of these amazing players. Like Larry Carlton. And I think Larry Carlton was talking about Dumble on Joe Bonamassa's live stream. I haven't seen it, so I'll check that out. But you should as well. Okay, so that's basically the channel. So we're going to do Bob and Ramon show, coffee chats are going to be the live stream, and then it's just all documentaries and history videos. So that's it. That's pretty much what this YouTube channel is going to be from now on. Okay. Yes, Gary, thank you for that. I would really love some lights. We need some lights. I'm going to improve matters here because it's not very good. I'm just using the laptop camera. I'm going to try and get my proper camera involved in this live stream thing. I need to work that out. Chris Molly says, any thoughts on the Mick Taylor style? Yeah, I love Mick Taylor. Mick Taylor's a really, really cool player. And I've demonstrated on some other live streams how he plays, and because what he does, he wears a slide on this finger. So he'll play a lick. He plays a lick and then he brings a slide in. That's what I like about his style. It's a really beautiful style he's got, I mean, some people say, oh, the Rolling Stones was the best when Mick Taylor was in the band. And I say, no. The Rolling Stones was the Rolling Stones when Brian Jones was in the band. When Brian Jones left, it was no longer the Rolling Stones as we knew it. It changed into something else. No, you can't compare the two things. It's like they're two cheeks of the same backside. You know, the Rolling Stones with Brian Jones and Rolling Stones with Taylor. There's no point comparing them because they're different bands. You know, the whole structure of the band changed, the roles changed. Keith Richards was in awe of Brian Jones. You know, Brian Jones was the man, you know, and Keith Richards was the guy learning guitar from Brian Jones. So when Brian Jones left, then Keith Richards became the main guy. You know, I'm talking as a guitar player. So you can't compare them. It's a different band. Rising Havoc says, good morning, Goose. Quick question. When you play slide, you play it in open G. Well, okay, so let's just talk about my two guitars here. So we got, okay, I only have two slide guitars. This one here is more of a Cooder. This is a copy of Cooder's guitar. This one here I built 13 years ago. Before, you know, when I built this guitar here, there were no copies. There was one or two. A guy called Michael Messer in England had one. There was a guy in America doing, we're not talking about water slide guitars, because water slide guitars has only just come in the last year, you know, and all he's doing is copying these, you know. But water slide is new, you know. And I'm talking about 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. There was only a few of us around doing these guitars. And Michael Messer was my influence. And Michael Messer is a great slide guitar player from England. And he had a forum. You can check out Michael Messer forum. And if you go on that forum, you can see that we've got posts going, you know, 10, 15 years. You know, 15 years ago, we were posting about this longer, and you can find out about a guy called Dave Smith, I think his name was. He was some kind of an artist, and he was doing the first replicas of these, you know, Cooder built them, and then a guy in America copied them, and then we were discussing those copies on the Michael Messer forum. This one here was built as a result of that forum that I was reading 15 years ago. So this has got a real Valco pickup from 50s lap steel and a 60s Tiesco. So this is identical to the ones in Cooder's guitar. The difference is this neck is smaller. It's a narrower neck, okay? It's 42 millimeters as opposed to Cooder's, which is probably 44 millimeters, okay? It's got a wide neck, and his is not thick. This is the thick neck, his is flat, okay? This one is very temperamental. These pickups are very, very temperamental. I'm going to show you in a minute the problem with these. But this guitar sounds incredible. It sounds unreal. But I don't tend to use it because it's a little bit, this is temperamental, like I said. But if you've got the real pickups, there's nothing that's, you know, we'll talk about replicas, yeah? Replicas, gold foils, replicas, in my opinion, they don't capture the magic of the originals. I have never played a replica that sounds as good as an original, okay? Get the originals, don't buy a replica. You don't have to get this one. If you can't find one of these ones, there's lots of other original gold foils for sale. Now, I'm not understanding why guys are buying replicas of gold foils when you can go on eBay and buy the original. Even if it's slightly different from Cooder's one, because this one's a certain style, you know. But some of them have the screws in the middle. Doesn't matter. It's still a gold foil. It's still going to sound amazing. So why do you want to go and get a replica when you can buy the original for half the price? These replicas are expensive. Guys, go and find the original ones. Buy the original pickups. They're going to be much better. And that's really it. We'll talk about this one in a minute. Now, that stays in D. But this has got round wounds, okay? It's got round wound strings because Cooder said that with this pickup, he preferred round wounds, okay? That was his choice. He's got two. Cooder has two guitars. So one sec, guys. Okay. Grey Magazine, Fretboard Journal. Sorry, guys, it's back to front. I don't know if I'm all back to front. So this is Cooder's main guitar, yeah? So this is his main one. This is the one he has round wounds, 12. So he has 12 gauge. I think he's gone down to an 11 now because the guy's getting old. He's 70. His fingers are soft. But he normally had 12s on this. This is original. This is from David Lindley. David Lindley gave him this pickup. Okay. This is his rock guitar. When he's playing rock music, he plays this. That's in D major tuning. And his other one, somewhere here, guys. Let me just find it. This is his other one. You can't really see this one, but this is the blues Strat. This is in G tuning. Okay, it's got 6 strings. We're talking G, D, G, G, B, D. Okay, that's G tuning. It's got a Bigsby. The strings aren't going through the body. On the other one, the strings are going through the body, and he's got springs on the back. This has got no springs. It's just a Bigsby. He's got a kind of a funny lap steel pickup here, but not the one like the Valco, not the string through, just a normal pickup. And he's got another Guitarist pickup here. This is a Guitarist. It's not Tiesto. It's a Guitarist pickup. And this is a really cool pickup. These were found on a lot of Guitarist guitars that were shipped to England and America under different names. I think Univox and all kinds of names. But this is, I think even Hank Marvin played one of these guitars. But these are the original Godfoils. And this is in G tuning. Okay, he didn't often play this in D. He didn't play this much. He recently had this for sale. I think it was for sale on Reverb, you know. But so these were the 2 guitars. I wasn't interested in this one, you know, because I don't really play G tuning. You know, G tuning. I know how to play it. Give me a guitar in G tuning, I can play it. But my preference is D tuning. And guys, let me tell you something. Don't go and buy a guitar already made. Build one yourself, you know. Don't buy a guitar that's already made like this, okay? Get it built yourself. Find a guitar that you like the neck of, the body, and then you just buy the pickups and put it in. It's not rocket science. It's easy. Why people are spending £2,000 on a guitar which is made up like this? Why? It's crazy. People are really crazy. Unless they're a bank manager and they've got thousands of pounds. It's a waste. It's more fun. The fun is in building this. If you can't be bothered to build it, then shame on you, because the whole fun about these guitars is building them yourself. You know, having a cheap guitar, buy the body, buy the neck, put it together, buy a couple of pickups. You can mix and match, and then you design it yourself. It's your own thing. Okay, why do you want to go and buy it? You know, you can build one of these things for £500-600. You save yourself £1,500. You know, buy a present for the wife with the money you save. You know? But that's it. This guitar here, I wanted a Telecaster because I thought, well, Ry Cooder has a Strat. I'll have a Telecaster, and I'll have a maple neck because I wanted it to be the opposite of a Coodercaster. You know, and so I've got the Valco pickup here, and I've got an original Guitarist. And again, this is an original one. Okay, the replicas sound nothing like this, in my opinion. Yeah, the replicas don't sound correct; they sound wrong. You know, the best thing you can do is get an original one which is broken and get it rewound. Okay, but the replicas, forget it. This is a replica. Okay, this is a replica, and it's okay. I'm not really happy with it. It doesn't sound half as good as the original. Okay, but until I can find another original, I'm going to stick with this. But when I find another original one, I'm going to be on eBay buying it. So if you can find the originals, guys, buy the original pickups from the 60s. And it doesn't have to be this model. Just buy any Godfoil, and it's going to sound good, you know. And that's what I would say. Get the original pickups if you can, because that's what you got. This one here, look, check this tone out. This is a beautiful tone. It's got a bit of a Klon pedal on here. So if you get the original ones, they really, really do sing. The replicas are good, but I haven't heard one that's like the originals. So get an original. Forget replicas. Forget them. Get on eBay and find your original gold foil. That's my advice. Okay, let's go to some questions. Okay, right. So Morris says hi, or hi Morris. Dr. Alex H says, what brand of string and size? Okay, my strings are Diodario. If Diodario publicist is watching, please give me some free strings. These are flat wounds, these are 12s, and these are round wounds, 12s. So I keep my life really simple. On normal guitars, I use 11s Diodarios with a 49 bass. That's my standard tuning. But with detuning, I use 12s, and these are flat wounds, but I swap out the G strings on both these packets for a plain string, because I like the plain strings, not the wound strings. So this is flat wound, this is a round wound. Now the problem with flat wound, it sounds beautiful with this pickup. With this pickup, with flat wounds, you've got a problem with the D string. Sorry, the G string. So what you got to do is get in here with a screwdriver, and if you can see this, and literally every time I play this guitar, I'm fiddling around with that G string pole piece. That's better. So that's one thing you've got to do, is you're going to be playing around. If you really want to get the balance, it's a nightmare on this one. This is why I don't play this one a lot, actually, because with the older pickup, it's a much more powerful pickup, but you're always having to dial in those screws, you know, the screw height here, just to get the guitar balance. And this is not balanced. I haven't played this one for a couple of months, this one. And so now I really have to sit here for 15 minutes and just dial in all those screws. You'll see when I play this one in a minute the problem that I have with this. But this one is just easier to play live. This guitar has been all over the Sahara Desert. So this, you can see all this sand is actually embedded into the wood from the Sahara. I dropped this guitar in the sea, in the Sahara, and in Western Sahara, and it got wet. And this guitar really has been through the wars, but it's got a lot of history because I played with a lot of great musicians in Africa, North Africa, with this guitar. So it's really cool. It wasn't a normal Telecaster, and then it evolved into what you can see now, and I just really like it, you know. So again, it's what I'm saying, guys. Build something yourself, make it a personal thing rather than buying it, you know. Okay, let's have a look. Where are we going? Sorry about this, guys. Let me just get it. So Christopher Molle says, I just bought an £80 telecopy from a Monoprice to build a copy of Keith's guitar. Okay, let's talk about Keith Richards' guitar. So Keith Richards has, he's changed a few things. He's changed the machine heads, and he's put a humbucker here. And he's also changed the bridge for a cheaper style bridge. But it's a good bridge, but it's not the old sort of vintage thing. But it's probably a Goto, or I don't know, is it Goto bridge or a Schecter bridge, shallow bridge, or I think it's a shallow bridge. And he's got I think he's changed the original pickup, the broadcaster pickup. It's like a very old, it's one of the earliest Telecaster pickups. And he's got a path here in the neck. And he's got 5 strings, which are starting here from G. So G, D, G, B, D. And like I said, what happened was there was a film called The Performance. And Mick Jagger starred in that film with Keith Richards' girlfriend at the time. And I think that was the same girlfriend that Brian Jones was with anyway. And then Keith Richards stole. I don't know if she's not an object, but you know what I mean. Keith Richards then ended up with this same girlfriend as Brian Jones. Brian Jones was pretty angry about that. But anyway, cut long story short, Ry Cooder was on those sessions. They brought in Ry Cooder to play slide guitar on the Performance album, if I've got my facts right. And so at that time, Ry Cooder was using that blue Stratocaster, and that blue Stratocaster was in G tuning. Why was Ry Cooder playing G tuning? There's a reason, because Ry Cooder plays the banjo. And the banjo is basically G tuning. If you get a banjo book, then you can use all those chords on a G tuning guitar. And at the time, but Ry Cooder was also still had the D. Ry Cooder is a great guitar player. He's not going to take out a string; he doesn't need to. And if you're playing if you're playing G tuning, you can use that D to play off of. But Keith Richards thought, okay, I'll take that D off because I'm used to having the lowest string being my root note. So really, that's a history of Keith Richards. That's the reason Keith Richards played G tuning, was because Ry Cooder came and Keith Richards says that Ry Cooder taught Keith Richards how to play G. But I don't know. I think what happened personally is when Brian Jones was in the group, Brian Jones was playing slide guitar. He was playing in D tuning, and I'm pretty sure he was playing in G tuning as well. And maybe it was just that Keith Richards just thought he couldn't go there. He couldn't, step on Brian Jones's shoes, and he probably wasn't good enough as a guitar player to do it even, and didn't really understand what Brian Jones was doing. So I think when Jones died, that kind of opened the door for Keith Richards then to go on to G and D tuning. And Keith Richards saw how cool it was when Brian Jones was playing in those tunings. So I think he kind of wanted to replace Brian Jones's guitar style, after he'd gone. So I think that kind of answers your question about Keith Richards. Pretty interesting, actually. But Keith Richards will never mention Brian Jones. Keith Richards has got a real problem with Brian Jones. He doesn't like the fact that Brian Jones came up with the name of the group. He doesn't like it that he formed the group. He doesn't like it that a lot of people still have a fascination with Brian Jones. I think there's a lot of, he feels like you can see Keith Richards is pretty uncomfortable talking about the whole Brian Jones period of the Rolling Stones, and which is a real shame, because that was a golden period. It's my favorite period of the Rolling Stones, was with Brian Jones for sure. But I think Mick Jagger is much more kinder. Mick Jagger is much more of a cooler dude, cooler fella about Brian Jones. And in fact, Brian Jones, he made one of the first world music albums in Morocco, in Tangier, with an indigenous tribe there that played these kind of flute-like instruments, and he released it on EMI. I think it was, I don't know what year it was recorded, but I think it was in 1971 that it was released, obviously after Brian Jones's death, but I think they recorded it in 67, if I'm right. I don't know, 67 or something. And Mick Jagger went back to Morocco in the late 90s or early 2000s as a kind of remembrance to Brian Jones. And they actually worked with that same tribe of musicians in Morocco. And that was thanks to Mick Jagger, not Keith Richards. So I think Mick Jagger's, he was a much cooler dude about, Brian Jones's legacy. I think Keith Richards has some kind of a problem. I don't know what it is, but I think that's the situation. Okay, guys, let's go to some questions. Enough of me talking. Hi, Goose. Your fingers can make anything sound good. Hey, Stratman. Too kind. Pelican J says, flick your big slide guitar challenge. Yeah. Favorite Dire Straits song? My favorite Dire Straits song. I've got a few. My favorite song. Well, I love. Hey, let me get another guitar. We'll come back to Coodercasters in a minute. Let me get a Telecaster. Okay. My favorite Dire Straits song is it's pretty much one of their first songs, which was Once Upon a Time in the West. I love the groove too. I know this is a bit of a cheesy song, but I love Walk of Life, just the groove. You know, I love that groove. That's incredible. Just in the pocket. But I think my favorite song is probably When It Comes to You. I think that's a brilliant song. Just the groove on that. Amazing. When It Comes to You. Check it out. It's on Calling Elvis album. And that's an incredible song. Jerome, how's it going? Flat shin to move the neck up, okay? But for some reason, I just got this is an MJT body, and this neck was made by Robert Gilmore. And this was just a lucky chance that when I put the neck onto the MJT body, it was at the right action. And I've raised the action here so that the strings pass through this pickup. And the action that I'm left with here, it just works. It's not too high. It's not really, I don't have really high action. I have 12s. Ry Cooder was using 14s. So if you look at Ry Cooder in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, he was playing 14s with quite high action. And then he brought his action down to 12s when he was playing this thing. So with the blue thing, it was with the blue Strat, not thing, he was playing 14s. When he came to playing this, he put 12s on it and brought the action down, I think. So it's just as you get more confident with the slide, you can have a lower action. But if you want to play 14s, then that's cool. That's not a problem. 14s are fine, but I like to fret my notes. So, you know, so you want to be able to fret and play it normally, and then when you bring your slide in, obviously, then you want to, be able to do a clean slide, you know. Now the problem with this one is, again, I'm having to, because so that's where you need this. You need to buy one of these little screws, and so that you put it in here, and then you can raise and lower. There's a great guitar player called Steve Kimmick. If you watch Steve Kimmick play, if you ever see him at a sound check, there's a good sort of YouTube clip of him talking about his equipment. And he'll have one of these, and he'll be fiddling pre-gig to get his to get the pickup sound good, you know. So you need one of these. If you've got an original one of these, you need one of these. Trust me. And then you're good to go. You can put super glue. I was putting super glue, but even then, for some reason, it's the screws still wobble and vibrate and come out. I don't know what's going on there, but anyway. And just like for height, you want to have the height so that you can fret. And you can hear this pickup here. It's a lot more. This pickup, I'm not going to say who made it, but this is a replica. It's muffled. This thing here is a monster. You know, Ry Cooder calls this the rock pickup. So if you've got to get an original one of these, you know, the replicas, they're okay, but they're not like the originals. The originals, you know. So these pickups really rock. They're amazing for rocking. If you've got a Dumble style overdrive, these things sound incredible. You know? Okay, so let's go back to some more questions from you good people. We've got a lot here. So 2 questions. Aaron says, you give a lot of interesting facts. Nice lesson. Do you put the video of this live chat on your channel? This one I am. Normally I don't, but we've improved the quality, hopefully, on this live stream. And we're going to put this one, I'm going to leave this one up so you can view this one, you know. So like I said, with this YouTube channel, the Guitar Show, we're going to be doing the documentaries, the history videos. We're going to do the Bob and Ramon show, and the coffee chats are now going to be live stream. And that's all we're doing on this channel. Now I want to say, Bob, because Bob has got a lot of fans, you know, much more fans than I have. And so if you want more Bob, then he has a YouTube channel, which is very good, and he's uploading some reviews and stuff like that. And his channel is called Rock Bear YouTube channel. Rock Bear, ROCKBEARKE, I think, Rock Bear. I'll put a link in this. And I also have another channel. So we both have our other channels. But the Guitar Show is really going to be now just more about, like I said, the Bob and Ron show, live coffee chats, and then all these the focus is going to be these history videos, because it takes a lot of time to make the research, to make the videos. And, you know, so I want to do some more really cool videos. The next video is all about this guy here. This is the next video. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be very cool. So check that one out. Okay. Deja Vu said, Pink Floyd at least paid tribute to their Crazy Diamond. That really started the band. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't think, like I said, Mick Jagger, I think, has talked about Brian Jones. But I don't think his legacy, it's not something they seem to be really proud of. I don't know. It's kind of almost like Keith Richards is saying, no, it's me. Forget about Brian Jones. The Rolling Stones is me. You know, that's kind of the vibe I get from Keith Richards. But, you know, Keith is a really cool fella. I love Keith Richards as much as anyone. I love his guitar style. I love his rhythm playing, you know, and he's a very cool guy. How can you not like Keith Richards, you know? So there you go. Stratman says, Brian was way more advanced than Keith ever was or is. I agree, man, 100%. I'm with you. Yusuf Kasim says, are you going to make a video about Rory Gallagher's playing style? You know what, I am, but that's a really good point. I will do that, because Rory Gallagher, one of the greats, incredible player. My brother is a bass player. You know, my brother doesn't really do guitar players because he's in the bass world. You know, bass players like keyboards and sax players and drummers before guitar players. But my brother's a jazz fusion player. Joe, you might have seen him on this channel. But one guitar player Joe loves is Rory Gallagher. So there you go. Jason says, long time no see, hope you're well and welcome back. Yeah, Jason, God bless you, man. Thank you. Aaron says, second question, do you ever play the Goosecaster in the middle position? Man, Aaron, I only play the Goosecaster in the middle position. So let me demonstrate. So I'm going to tell you something, guys. One question I get, and this I've got a really good friend. I'm going to name drop alert. Rick Vito, incredible guitar player, one of my favorite guitar players. He's a good friend of mine. I've got to get him one of these. And thanks for reminding me. Rick was asking me about the switch. So let me explain. This is called a magic switch, okay? And it's got a lot of tongues or whatever they're called on it. Tongues, whatever. Something like 15 or 10 or something. Okay, if you're going to have this pickup here and this pickup, you're going to need one of these magic switches. Now, you can get one in Germany. I'll see if I can get you a link on here. What this does, when you have this in the middle, it puts this and this in phase. because normally this pickup here, if you combine it with this one, half the pickup is in phase and half the pickup is out of phase. Okay, so these will be, you won't be able to hear these notes, and these you'll be able to hear really loud. But this magic switch puts everything in phase or everything out of phase, whichever you want. But you don't want to have half in phase and half out of phase, because it sounds wrong. So without this magic switch, it's not going to work. But with this magic switch, I've got these two pickups out of phase, so they're like the Peter Green sound, which I love. So this is just a kind of a fluke, a lucky fluke, that when we wired this all up, it was out of phase, but it's all out of phase. Okay, so let me demonstrate you that sound. So that's the sound with both of these together, which is really how I play this guitar 90% of the time. Okay, 90% I have it, because then I can hit this and you can hear it. And some of the times, obviously, if I have it here, well, you don't hear it so well. You can hear it there. So you can tap these. But if you have it here in the middle, you've got the beauty of both of these pickups out of phase. It's a really cool sound. I've got the harmonic trem. That's a harmonic trem, which is made by Victoria amps. I don't know if you can see it. It's just down here. Probably can't see it, but it's a big unit, and it gives me my whoa 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 sound. That's a really nice effect to have. So really, you know, if you can build one, guys, build one yourself. Don't buy one. You know, if you buy one, you're going to spend £2,000. You're going to waste your money. Build one yourself. Don't come back here and tell me you've bought one and spent £2,000. Please tell me you spent £500 and you built one yourself. That's what I want to hear. Okay, and buy the original gold foils. Don't buy a replica. The replicas are no good. Buy the original gold foils. Doesn't have to be this one exactly. There's lots of old gold foils from the 50s. Even if they look really cheap and rubbish, they are still going to sound much better than a replica. Okay, So get the original gold foils, my friends. Okay. Right, let's go to some more questions. Leo Gaz, Once Upon a Time in the West. Yes, Once Upon a Time in the West. Guys, Communique, Dire Straits' second album. Check it out. If you do not know Communique by Dire Straits, it's an incredible album. Pick Withers on drums, John Oz Islay on bass, Mark Knopfler and his brother on guitars. Great album. Leo says, love Local Hero and all the Dire Straits, Mark Knopfler too. Yeah, Mark Knopfler is the man, you know. I think, you know, he's such a good guitar player, just such an amazing guitar player, you know. Jason says, Knopfler is from my hometown, Newcastle. Love Local Hero. Jason, the Tyne. I love the Tyne. Knopfler and Sting also from Newcastle. You know, Newcastle people. Two things about people from Newcastle: they're really hard, so you don't pick a fight with somebody from Newcastle. And number two, don't pick an argument in politics with somebody from Newcastle because they read a lot of books and they know their politics. So two things you've got to be careful of with people from Newcastle. Yes, do that, Jay. He says he's going to try that out. Rise and Havoc. Goose, have you ever played a Trainwreck amp? Yes. No, not an original one, but Tommy Cougar, who built me my Dumble replicas. I got two Dumble replicas. He also built me a Trainwreck amplifier, but the problem with that Trainwreck, it was a Trainwreck Liverpool with the 4 EL84s, and the problem with that amp was it was too scooped, you know, and a real Liverpool it's got the mid-range, you know, so it's very much a mid-range amp. And this Liverpool that I had was scooped. It didn't sound right, so I sold it. You know, bless Tommy, but I don't think he got that quite right. Might be mistaken here, but I played other Liverpool copies, and they're much more mid-range. So my friend, got a good friend, we did a video on this channel. Check it out. He's made some replicas. And they were much better than Tommy's replica. So, but I have kind of played that circuit, I should say. But yeah, Trainwrecks are very loud amplifiers. They're very, very loud, and you can go deaf, you know, playing them because they're so loud. But they give up the goods when you get them right up full. So you really need to play one with an attenuator. You know, and then you're going to be compromising the tone somewhat. So that's kind of why I like the Dumble ODS. Let me show you guys. So this is my this amp here, over 20 years old. This is one of the first Dumble replicas because Tommy Cougar, just like that. Tommy Cougar was one of the first guys to make a copy of a Dumble amplifier. So Bill Crenard and Tommy Cougar, those two were the first two fellas who cloned the Dumble ODS, yeah? Naughty, because Dumble was really angry with both of them. Dumble was angry with Tommy and Dumble was angry with Bill Crenard for copying these amps. But this was way back. This was a long, long time ago. So I think this is a 90s amplifier, if I'm right. This was built in the 90s. So this is before. Now everybody and his auntie is building a Dumble clone. But these amps were built years ago, when there were no YouTube videos about Dumble amplifiers, and you had to go onto some weird little forum bulletin board to find out what the hell these things were. But the reason I like these, the reason I don't play Trainwrecks and I don't play many other amps except the Filmer Sound, which is I'm playing through a Filmer Sound now, because a Filmer Sound is only 15 watts. But the reason I love the Dumble Overdrive is for one thing only. Well, two things. Apart from the beautiful, clean, crystal clean sound, it's got an overdrive channel. So this is your volume, preamp volume. So this is a preamp. And then you've got your EQ section here. Whoop. So you've got your preamp volume here. You set that. And then you've got your preamp volume, preamp tone controls. This is a one-channel amp. It's only one channel amp. And then here you've got your overdrive, here and here. So this is your volume of your overdrive channel, and this is how much overdrive you want. And then this is your overall master volume, and this is your presence, just to give you a bit of a sparkly sort of EQ. So basically, with this amplifier, what's beautiful about it is you can get an incredible overdrive. The overdrive from this amp is unlike any pedal. You cannot compare a pedal overdrive to this overdrive. Now, some people prefer a pedal overdrive. I'm not saying that this is better, but it's very different, and it reacts differently under your fingers. The overdrive you get from this. But I used to have a Fender Super 60 amplifier when I was first starting because I had no money. It cost me £300. My first ever amplifier was a Selmer. I bought that one for £80, I think. Treble and bass, 100 watt. But I had a Fender Super 60 red knob, and that had, designed by Paul Rivera, I think, and that had a beautiful overdrive channel in that amp. So I got used to using the overdrive from the actual amp rather than a tube screamer. And I use tube screamers. I like tube screamers, But the overdrive you get from this thing, because you've got so much voltage going through it, it's unreal. It's amazing. So that's what I like, and especially for slide guitar, when you play this pickup here through this overdrive from this amp, guys, it sounds amazing. So this is one of the original. This is one of the original amps, and you can see here on the back. It's completely handmade. This one's called Sally. It's a 50 watt. It's two 6L6s. It was actually designed as an EL34 amp. So Tommy originally designed this as 50 watt EL34, and it's got some big ass transformers in here. But we've modified this to take 6L6s, but with the same big transformer. So it's quite a unique sound. And this is not a copy. It's based on an overdrive special, but it's Tommy's own voltages inside here. The preamp is his own design, well, based on Dumbles, but different voltages and values. And it has a very unique sound. There's no other amp that sounds like this. It's very good for slide guitar. Very, very good. Very rootsy sound. The sound's kind of very tweedy, and it breaks up. It's a really, really cool amp. So, totally handmade. There's only one of these, in existence. And this is my slide guitar amp. Okay. Where were we? Let's go back to the Goosecaster. And let's take some questions. Here we go. Johnny in Bethnal Green. Bit late, cooking oxtail stew. Hello, brother. Hi, Johnny. I've had some French onion soup tonight. So if anyone can give me a good recipe for onion soup, I'd be most happy. Yusuf says, are you self-taught or were you taught by a guitar teacher? Oh, thank you for that question. Right, I was taught by my mother's record collection. My mother is a very cool lady, and she was, her record collection was incredible. She had George Benson, she had Canned Heat, Johnny Winter, Gary Moore, Rolling Stones, Robert Johnson, just every kind of cool record. Grover Washington Jr. She had the jazz, she had the blues, she had the rock. But her favorite bands were Canned Heat, Johnny Winter. So imagine growing up with a mum whose two favorite bands are Canned Heat and Johnny Winter. I mean, come on. So that's how I learned. That was my teacher. Other than that, I just listened to the records, Let's go here. Jason says, I've just picked up a Harley Benton Tube 15 amp. I must admit, it beats a Fender Champ any day. Okay, let's talk about amplifiers. It's in your fingers, guys. It's in your fingers. Apart from the gear, the gold foils, whatever, it's really in your fingers. Your fingers are the biggest tone things you can possibly imagine. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about more fingers, maybe on another stream, and I'll tell you some exercises. But this is what's going to give you that, the aftertouch that you do. So that's called an aftertouch. That's like a nuance, an embellishment. That's the biggest thing you guys have got to get into your playing. You know, do you hit the vibrato aggressively, subtly? Do you let the note sit first and then add it? Do you vibrate up or down? You know, your vibrato should be something you're working on all the time. If you're spending 2 hours researching a pedal on eBay, you should be spending 4 hours researching your vibrato in your fingers. Okay. Harmonic tremolo. Yeah, harmonic tremolos. I love harmonic tremolos, guys. Right, let's go here. So what we got here? Bethnal Green. My Knopfler, Johnny from Bethnal Green in London says Knopfler is a very similar to Peter Green, very emotional. Yeah, you know, Mark Knopfler was all about sort of a drone, sort of, you know, have that nice drone and then. And then he'd have his volume pedal. You know, beautiful playing, you know. Jason says Brian Johnson is also from Newcastle. Yeah, you see, Brian Johnson is a really tough fella. And you can be sure of two things. He's rock hard and he's very good at arguing about politics. You know, that's people from Newcastle. Dr. Alex H says, is it difficult wiring a Coodercaster? You find schematic easily? No, guys, I'm gonna do a video very soon. I'm going to be building a new Coodercaster, okay, especially for this channel, and I'm going to go through everything, how to build a Cooder from scratch to putting it all together, you know, because I don't want you guys to spend £2,000 on somebody building it for you, you know, and I want to show you how to do it the right way. I want to save you some money, and I want to tell you about. We're going to buy some cheap pickups off eBay. We're going to buy some gold foils, cheap ones, not necessarily this one, but a cheap one. And we're going to buy some cheap pickups, and I'll show you how to put together a Coodercaster really cheaply, because, you know, it's getting out of hand. I think these makers building these replicas, which cost a lot of money, you know, it's all this replica stuff, and it doesn't sound good. They're charging all the big money, but it doesn't have the big tone. So we're going to go back to basics and buy the 60s original gold foils and show you can save a lot of money by buying the original gold foils, not these replicas, yeah? Right, let's have a look here. Deja Vu said 60 cycle hum boys talked about the old school tremolo unit today, old fluid tank setup, trippy. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different types of tremolo and delay even. There's was there an oil can delay that Dave Gilmore, Bison used or something? So there's lots of amazing things, you know, lots of amazing old gear, you know. But harmonic trem, Victoria amps, it's my favorite, one of my favorite effects. You know, I don't use many effects now, guys. I try to. I think if you know, there was a time when I was doing concerts pre-COVID, and I had this big pedal board with 20 pedals, and then I just sold everything, got rid of everything, and now I'm down to 4 or 5 effects, maybe 3 effects even. And I feel that, you know, your effect is here. These are your effects, guys. This is your effect. This is your effect, and these are, and this is an effect here. You know, if you want, you know, get your little finger on that. You know, get using that volume. Before you spend money on effects, there's a lot of things you can use, you know, with your body. Before you need to spend money on an effect, a stupid effect, you know. That's my opinion, you know. But I've been playing for 25 years, and I've had every effect you can imagine. And now I'm kind of trying to get rid of effects, you know. The less effects I can have, the better, guys. Yeah, Tommy Cooper. God bless you for knowing Tommy Cooper. I've got a good friend called Dave Gillen. I hope he's online. Dave, God bless you, man. That amplifier that I was showing you earlier, thank you, Dave. There's a long story behind that. We'll go into that. Blues in the Blood says, a lot of gold foils going for 150 to 220. Yeah, okay, so gold foils, are we talking replicas? Because gold foil replicas are expensive, you know, but you can buy the originals you can get originals cheap. Well, the last time I looked, the last time I built a Coodercaster, I saw gold foils for 20, 30 pounds. They weren't expensive. I don't know what, I need to go and check the prices out now, but I would say get an original gold foil. The whole point about this is that Ry Cooder doesn't have replicas. He has the original gold foil and the original pickups. That's what Ry Cooder has. We're trying to get close to what Ry Cooder built. Ry Cooder's guitar is not expensive. He's got a cheap body and a cheap neck. They're not expensive. They're like £150 body and a £150 neck. It's not a vintage guitar that he has. His blue one is, but his Coodercaster is not. It's all cheap, but what he has the original pickups. You need the original pickups, guys, not the replicas. Okay? So that's what you want to spend your money on, is an original gold foil. Yeah. Okay. Jason says, these knobs are called chicken heads. Are we talking these ones here? So this one, this is whatever I had lying around. Now, this is a problem. I'm going to change this eventually because I want to put a volume here so that my little finger can ride that volume and I can do swells like a pedal steel. But I need to go back to the guys in the Camden who do the work for me and get them to put that here so that then I can ride that volume like that. So I'm sure they'll be able to do it. That plate is purely cosmetic. You don't need this. It's purely a cosmetic thing. So here we go. Do you ever use a modeling amp like the Helix? No, I never use it. I don't like. For me, I'd rather play the guitar like that than use a modeling amp. This is a Filmer Sound amp. It's only 14 watts. My thing is, get a small amp. There's some technology that you can put on the amp, and it's quite expensive. And you feed your amp through it, and then you can listen to it on headphones without a speaker. That's a much better idea. The money that a Helix costs, you could buy a really cool little amp and one of these gadgets. Dave Gillen, my friend, has got one, and you put that through, and so it's better to. I'm not a fan of. I'm into 1950s guitar sounds. I want. I need some valves. I need some. Give me some tubes, guys. I need some tubes, and digital. I'm never going to go. The whole. Look, my philosophy is this: the Stradivarius violin is what it is. Yeah, they haven't. They try to make plastic violins or whatever, but really, if you're a professional violin player, you're not going to turn up with a plastic or fiberglass or carbon fiber violin. No, you're going to turn up with a Stradivarius style violin. Okay. And for me, that's like guitar. If you're going to play the kind of music I play, you want to have a 1950s or 60s style guitar with a 1950s and 60s style amp. Okay, I know the Dumble is more of a 70s, 80s thing, but it's still based on 50s technology, valve technology, RCA tubes, whatever, 930s, whatever. So really, for me, that's the guitar. Now, if you're playing heavy metal, I can understand that you might want to use digital gear because maybe in heavy metal, the valve sound is not so important. And in other styles, maybe fusion, and maybe in some other styles, you don't need that valve sound. But if you're playing, the kind of music I play, which is blues, roots, Americana, that's sort of 50s, 60s stuff, then you really need valves, in my opinion. Okay, this is just my opinion. I wouldn't feel comfortable playing anything else. Life is too short. Why am I going to play digital stuff? If I can play valves, I'll play valves. But that said, I have plugged straight into the computer sometimes. Sometimes it's necessary to use digital because of the situation you're in. Maybe I'm in the Sahara Desert. I don't have valve. When I'm in the Sahara Desert, I'll play a Gorilla amp. Have you heard of Gorilla amps? I'll play anything. If I'm in the Sahara Desert, it doesn't matter. Just the fact that there's an amplifier is amazing. So, you have to be open to use gear, not so good when you need to. But generally, if I can use a valve amplifier, I'm going to use that, and I'm going to forget digital gear. But that's just my opinion. Okay, let's go back to here. Let's go back to some questions. We've got some great questions tonight. So that pedal show, Joey Landreth video is brilliant. Term Demo, that pedal show, Joey Landreth. Okay, guys, full disclosure, I don't watch that pedal show. I think I've seen 2 of their shows, which were very good. I know Dan personally. He's a great fella, very cool fella. I've talked to Mick a couple of times on the phone. Very cool fella. I don't watch their YouTube, but I don't watch a lot of guitar YouTube channels, to be honest. And Joey Landreth, I know of Sonny Landreth. I know Sonny Landreth, and Sonny Landreth is amazing. I've heard of, people have told me about Joey Landreth. I haven't heard his music, so I can't really comment on him. But by all accounts, he's a good player. But Sonny Landreth is incredible, and Sonny Landreth actually used Dumble amps, and Sonny Landreth invented a style. See? There's some players like Eddie Van Halen who are amazing because they invent style. They come with a new technique, and Sonny Landreth came and brought a new technique to slide guitar. So that's what he was playing behind the slide guitar. I can't do it because my strings are a little bit low and these are 12s. You know. But anyway, the only thing I really do behind the slide is that. I might do a pull off. But Sonny Landreth actually incorporated that style. Now, I don't copy that because for me, that's Sonny Landreth's thing. Sonny Landreth invented that little technique. So for me, it's if I'm going to do that, I might as well. You know, I might as well do finger tapping because that is Eddie Van Halen invented finger tapping. So you know, I want to get my own style together. And Sonny Landreth, he invented playing behind the slide. So I don't want to copy Sonny Landreth. You know, I don't really want. I want to kind of do my own thing, which, you know, I'm more copying by Cooder. I don't say you guys shouldn't. I think you should copy Sonny Landreth. But personally, I don't want to do that because really that's a Sonny Landreth technique. And, you know, I don't know. I wouldn't feel good about copying Sonny. You know, it is so Sonny Landreth. Sonny Landreth was the guy that did that. And I think to copy that, it's like, I don't know. That's just my thing, you know. For me, it's like finger tapping. I won't finger tap because that was Eddie Van Halen's thing. Eddie Van Halen invented it. That was his thing, you know. So I try to get my own thing, you know. Let's have a look here. So Jason says, I watch some other streams, people with hundreds of thousands of followers. They have nowhere near the knowledge or talent. Oh, man, Jason, you're the man. Thank you too much. Aaron says, I am from Rotterdam. Hey, I love Holland and the Netherlands. So Aaron says, I hear a lot of talking about Knopfler. What about Chris Rea? I think he is a very underrated slide guitarist. Very melodic slide work, such as Road to Hell. Have you ever met him? You know what? I would love to meet Chris Rea. Chris Rea is a really cool guitar player. He's very, very good. You know, he's and I think there's a really good DVD called The Strat Heroes or The Legends of Strat. And there's a great documentary where Chris Rea is talking about his slide playing and about Ry Cooder, you know, because if you play slide guitar, Ry Cooder is God. You know, it's just the way it is. You might say, yeah, but he's not as good as. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Ry Cooder is the top. He is the number one. There is nobody else in that position. You might say, yeah, Derek Trucks. Hey, man, Derek Trucks is incredible. Virtuoso, the man. Total respect. But even Derek Trucks is like, yeah, Ry Cooder is the number one. I don't know what it is. It's because Ry Cooder was there at the beginning. He's a connection between the Delta. You know, he was he was getting taught by Reverend Gary Davis. You know, in the same room. You know, he was there getting taught by these old guys. You know, so he came up through all that. You know, he's one of the dudes. And even when I saw him at the Cadogan Hall 2 years ago, Ry Cooder had no, you know, backstage pass. So Eric Clapton couldn't go and hang out with Ry Cooder backstage because Ry Cooder doesn't do a green room. He doesn't do a special place for celebrities. You know, Ry Cooder is a man. He's a one-off. You know, if you want to go and see Ry Cooder, you've got to go and sit. I don't care if you know, he doesn't care if you're Eric Clapton. You've got to go and sit with everyone else. You can't go, you know, have a special place to see my concert. You know, you're not going to hang out with me after the concert. You're going to pay and watch with everyone else. So I think that's really cool thing that Ry Cooder does. You know, he's a very cool fella. And that's why he's the number one, because he's that link between the Delta and the modern style of slide playing. He brought that into rock, you know. So he was before Duane Allman. He played slide before Duane Allman did, you know. So there you go. I think Duane Allman actually cited Ry Cooder as an influence. He heard Taj Mahal's album, and that's where he first sort of heard slide guitar, you know. Right. Jason says, again, Ramon, what's your favorite lyric of all time? I'm a big fan of poetry, especially the English, what they call the romantic poets. So Keats, although I think Keats, was he Irish? I can't remember. Yeats, but spelled Yeats or whatever. Lord Byron, Oscar Wilde, William Blake. Great poets, you know. Shelley. So the Irish, British poets, you know, Burns, all those kind of, for me, they were, that's where I get my inspiration for lyrics. I think people like Joni Mitchell, Bob Dylan, they're up there, you know, lyric wise. You know, some of the Rolling Stones lyrics, I love some of the, you know, Angie, you know, that's a great song. Wild Horses. You know, in contemporary pop, there's some great, but I think really, you know, for lyrics, for words, I go to poetry, you know, personally, that's where I get my influence for words is, you know, from those English poets. In that period, there was a period in the 1800s to the 1900s, that 100-year period where you had these incredible poets, and they were linked to a scene in London. And they're pretty rock and roll, you know, there's some crazy, you know, stories and parties, and they're all going crazy. But out of that came this incredible poetry, you know, and I think most musicians, you know, like Morrissey, especially people like Morrissey and that, you know, are influenced by that kind of period. So if you haven't already, guys, check out those English, especially English poets from that era, British poets, I should say. Yeah, that's really my influence lyric-wise. Okay, so here we go. Strat says, 727 Strat, he says, Ram, have you still got my El Macombo video? I know who this is. This is Ian. So this is a good friend of mine. This is Ian from Clacton-on-Sea. We go back 25 years, my God. I haven't got the video VHS, but I got a DVD about El Macombo. Come on, man, El Macombo. This is if you haven't seen it, guys, this is like the landmark Stevie Ray Vaughan performance. This is the El Macombo was like the most incredible performance by Stevie Ray Vaughan ever, and he's arguably his best tone, and he wasn't using Dumble amplifiers. He was just using Fender Super Reverbs and Vibroverbs, and he played incredible and he sounded incredible. You know, that was as good as the Beatles at the Cavern Club. You know, that was the place to be. So yeah, Steve Ray Vaughan. Danbury says, "Right is God." Yes, right is God. Blues in the Blood said, Joey does play a lot behind the slide as well. Joey, who's the Joey Landreth guy? Yeah, Joey sure knows his interval positions and plays a bit like Blake Mills. Okay, I don't really know Joey Landreth, but I do know Blake Mills. Okay, Blake Mills is an incredible slide guitar player, and I've copped a few of his licks. A lot of my gear choices were influenced by Blake, but I'm hastening to add, I built a Coodercaster before he did, so who knows? Maybe he saw my Coodercaster on the gear page, and you know, who knows? But yeah, Blake Mills is definitely a very cool fella, incredible songwriter, great lyric writer as well. He's a man. He's a very cool fellow. Chris Rea is also from the northeast of England. Yeah, so anyway, back to Chris Rea. Guys, Chris Rea he's kind of like Bonnie Raitt, yeah? Bonnie Raitt and Chris Rea are incredible slide guitar players, but because they're popular as singer-songwriters, their playing gets overlooked. What makes an incredible slide player for me is not somebody that showboats, somebody that, oh, look at me, I'm really flashy. It's somebody that, they get a human quality, like Ry Cooder, that kind of just very... it's a tone quality. It's not the tricks. I see a lot of, guys focusing on, Bonnie Raitt plays. It's a beautiful sound, So it's a pleasure to listen to Bonnie Raitt, and that's the thing with Ry Cooder. Ry Cooder might just do something very simple, sort of. Could just be that, but it's when he plays, it's so funky, so soulful. That's what's infectious, rather than doing all behind. Sure, look at me, I can do all this intervallic playing behind. Yeah, that's very good, but is it a good song? Is it a good? Is it going to touch you? So don't get too caught up in the techniques. It's more about, again, with playing with your fingers. Get your style, formulate your touch. It's all about developing a touch and having the muscles in your finger. So this is a little technique I'm doing at the moment. You can add little nuances all the time to your playing, and that's more important for me than doing something really flashy. It's just doing something very subtle. Something subtle but melodic. And that's what I try and focus on as well. A lot of these players, these younger slide players, they don't, I don't want to be a critic here, but the older guys like Sonny Landreth and Ry Cooder were very focused on the right hand, so. And the younger players I've been checking out, they're lacking on the right hand. It's all the left hand again, but they don't quite have the rhythm that Ry Cooder does. Mike Knopfler. Check out Mike Knopfler and Ry Cooder. They've got incredible rhythm on their right hand, and that's sometimes overlooked by the younger guys, because the younger guys think it's all on the left hand and playing flashy, but it's a rhythm. Yeah, your right hand is king. I was in a guitar store in London, in a place called Denmark Street. And I was about 23 years old, and I was sitting playing guitar. And I there was a really amazing session guy in town from Nashville. And I always remember he said to me, it's all about the right hand. I don't know who that guitarist was, but he was famous in Nashville because the guy behind the counter in the guitar store said, that guy's really famous. I don't know who he was because I don't know so much about country, but I always remember that. He just said, it's all about the right hand. And that was a country guy from Nashville that told me that when I was 23 years old. He said, well, obviously, if you're left-handed, it's all about your left hand. If you're right-handed, it's all about your right hand, okay? And that's kind of been a mantra for me for a long time, developing tricks with my right hand, developing rhythm, So, and there's lots of things you can do, lots of creative things you can do with your right hand. And you're hardly touching the guitar. I'm not even doing anything with my left hand here. So that's where the focus has to be, the right hand. And sometimes I see it's all very well with the flashy stuff with the left hand, but get your right hands working, guys. Okay, and that's something that Ry Cooder is. His right hand is amazing. Sonny Landreth, again, right hand, incredible. Okay, and Steve Ray Vaughan, incredible right hand. Here we go. Stratman says, can't beat a cranked super reverb. When I was young, I blew the speakers out of mine. yeah, super reverbs. You know, you hear Derek Trucks on a super reverb, incredible. I think he's playing at Alexandro amps now, but I love his sound. You know, SG through a super reverb. You know, no pedals. Derek Trucks, no pedals, man. Just one guitar, one amp. You know, like, take my hat off to him. Take my hat off to the guy. Worldwide Ghost says, I much prefer the tone and feeling. Yes, I agree with you. 727 Strat says, Texas Flood at the Elmer Combo is still the best guitar performance ever. The most dynamic guitar playing of all time. I know you agree. Yes, 72 Strat, it's very beautiful, beautiful performance. You know, if you see it in other gigs afterwards, it's still amazing, but for Elmer Combo, he had an energy, he had something to prove. You know, he was hungry. He was hungry for that, whatever. And he played his ass off, you know, and he was young. He was a young fella, so he had the energy, you know. He was young, and it was pretty incredible, incredible performance. Probably one of the best, it's like Fleetwood Mac at the Boston Tea Party. It's like Cream at the Royal Albert Hall. It's, you know, it's one of those amazing gigs, you know. Johnny Bethnal Green said, the space in between the notes is important. Yes, again, you know, you can play as flashy as you want, but, you know, the guys like Bonnie Raitt, she plays very simple. You know, Chris Rea, very simple, but great playing, beautiful playing, you know. That's one thing, you know, you learn Wes Montgomery, you know, Wes Montgomery, right note at the right time. It's boring. We want to go crazy. We want to go nuts. But, you know, Kenny Burrell, all those great jazz players, you know, there's a time for shredding. There is a time for shredding, and we like it. It's exciting, and we need to shred. You've got to have the facility sometimes to shred. But when you play something, I'm going to come back to my friend Henry Kaiser. He's somebody you want to check out. He's a big influence, you know, I like somebody that takes me out of the guitar nerd world and into a different place. And Henry Kaiser really does that for me. And you know, like Eric Dolphy in jazz did that. And, you know, somebody that takes you out of the norm, you know, so your influences should be here and here, and then you got your Eric Claptons and your Jimi Hendrix here, but then out here you want to have someone avant-garde, and here you want to have someone experimental. Robert Fripp, you know, Robert Fripp, he's another cool fella. Frippatronics, Robert Fripp, you know, great player. Andy Summers, you know, those influences are really important to have. You know, there was one great Police song where Andy Summers, his whole solo was just one note through the whole solo, but he really meant it. He was really aggressive playing that one note, and it's a great solo, but it's only one note. So there you go. You know, Kurt Cobain. I'm a big Kurt Cobain fan. I love Kurt Cobain. He's really great, great musician, great singer, great songwriter, great guitar player. You know, Jaguars. You know, can't beat it. Mustangs. I think Mustangs. Okay, Blues in the Blood says, true, which is why I don't own or listen to many of these hot new guitar players. They can sure play, but there's something missing that I turn on a Cooder LP. Yes, I'm the same. You know, the younger guys, it's really great that there's some younger guys playing these Coodercasters, and all power to them. But for me, you know, Cooder, Cooder is the king. He's a master. I'm still trying to learn how to play like Cooder, you know. Cooder, like I said, Ry Cooder, the reason he's magic is because he has a delta. You know, he has Joe Spence. You know, Joe Spence from the Caribbean, calypso guitar. He has the delta blues. He's that connection. There's not many people like that. You know, so and you know, he bring in Mexican musicians, and he worked with Alpha Katori from Mali, with Indian musicians, you know, with the Buena Vista Social Club, you know, Ry Cooder is, you know, he's a man. That's it. You know, he's for me, he's the whole encyclopedia of music going back to the 30s, you know, till now. Okay, we're gonna do 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna finish this. This has been a 2-hour stream. It's been really good fun to do it. We've had some really great questions today. Worldwide Ghost says, I know a lot of players that can blaze, but if the tone's not there, then it does nothing for me. Yeah, it's interesting because there's a guitarist at Woodstock, you know, the guy at Woodstock called, I can't remember his name. I always remember it and then forget it. But he played a red 335, maybe you can tell me. At Woodstock, the guy with the red 335, English guitarist. And everything he played was fast. And I remember thinking, that's amazing. But I could never listen to it. I never wanted to check out his music, because if his music was all about playing fast, it's like, I don't want to hear it. But it was amazing. I really loved it. And his performance at Woodstock was incredible. But I didn't want to listen to his music. I don't know why. There you go. Was Carlos Santana at Woodstock. They made me want to listen to their music, you know. Right. Worldwide Ghost says, I'm not far from Denmark Street. It's a great place. I met and hung out with Peter Green once there, the actual Peter Green. God rest his soul. I've told this story actually before, but Blues in the Blood says, true that, which is why I don't own or listen to many of these. Okay, we read that. Sorry about that. Worldwide Ghost, I know a lot of players that can play. Yeah, we did that one. What am I doing? Stratman says, 1966, Stratman says, the better live of Hendrix is best of both hands, unusual key changes. Right, okay. Stratman says, Fender Deluxe is a benchmark in tone, but any more I prefer very low wattage, yeah. So low wattage amps, definitely the way forward, especially now with COVID, you know. John McLaughlin, tones of note, but always something to say. Yeah, John McLaughlin, incredible player. You know, I love John McLaughlin. There's nothing bad you could say about John McLaughlin. The guy's a genius. He's playing PRS through a laptop. Not my favorite tone, but he's John McLaughlin. I'm not going to argue with him. Hi, Jason says, Ramon, I think we have Hank Marvin to thank for Mark Knopfler and many others. Yeah, Hank Marvin. I wanted to do a history video on Hank Marvin, and we will do it. Hank Marvin influenced Peter Green. You know, Albatross is kind of based on Santo and Johnny. Sleepwalk mixed with Hank Marvin. That's what kind of Peter Green's sort of vision for that song was. So, Gary Moore was influenced by Hank Marvin. Eric Clapton, a lot of players were. Worldwide Ghost says he likes Kid Ramos' tone. Yeah, is he in Kid Ramos? Is he in the kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan style group? I think that's who they are. Where are we? Kelly, Guitar Forever. Yes. Johnny Bethnal Green says, I'm too old for grunge, but Cobain songs, playing for the song, sweet. Yeah, Kurt Cobain, I think it was a really good, change that happened in music, and it was needed. And even, hey, he influenced Guns N' Roses and Metallica. So there you go. Alvin Lee, Alvin Lee was a guitarist at Woodstock. Now, Alvin Lee, well, he was playing some incredible fast blues licks. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Going Home, 10 years after Alvin Lee, it was incredible. It was mind-blowing. But it made me never want to listen to his albums because I thought, if that's how he plays all the time, then no thanks. But watching it, it was incredible. So respect to Alvin Lee. Yes, I agree with you, Stratman, who's talking about Kurt Cobain. Jason says, I'm a delay junkie and Edge fan. Anyone else experiment with those lovely tones? Tones and tone, yeah, okay. We'll talk about delays. I use 3 delays normally, but I have 2 delays now, okay? So I've got a slapback delay just to give me a bit of air. And then I've got another one to give me some repeats, like an ambient. So I actually have 2 different delay pedals, I have a Quicksilver delay and I have a Crucial Audio delay. So the Crucial Audio is giving me my my slapback, which has got a tube in it, so it's kind of very much a tubey analog sound. And then the Quicksilver is actually a digital delay, giving me the ambience. And that's really nice. So if I go to clean, if I go to a clean sound, So that's kind of why I like to use the delays, is to just give me the ambience, especially if I'm playing solo. Then it gives me an ambience, and when I'm playing that kind of groove, so it gives me that kind of repetitive, give me more of a groove, and I can play off of it, you know. So on and so forth. Okay, let's wrap this up, guys. So Stratman 1966 says they ready on the eyes too. The girl, I don't know what we're saying about that. Let's move on. Bethnal Green says, I agree, Jason. I loved him since the Boy album up till Russell. Yeah, we're talking about The Edge now. I love The Edge. Edge is a great player, and his use of delays was, really. I think as a result, maybe, who knows, Andy Summers. But Andy Summers and The Edge were two, obviously Robert Fripp, but definitely Andy Summers and The Edge were kind of two delay junkies, and really used the delays in an amazing way. So did Johnny Marr. Johnny Marr was a really good guitar player. Is a really great guitar player using delays as well, So here we are. Let's... Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jason. Aaron says, hey, Roman, thanks for your videos. Learned a lot about oil cans delay. Did not buy the Dark Fountain by Nemesis. Great. But I love the sound of the oil cans delay for slide. Yeah, oil can delays are, especially these little pedals that do replicas, are very, very good. And I have the one you just mentioned, the Dark Fountain, which is a very good pedal. But I'm not using it at the moment, but I sometimes use it. But the two delays I'm using is a Quicksilver, it's a blue pedal Quicksilver for ambient and the Crucial Audio, big delay. You can just about see there, that light there. And that's for my slapback, because I always play with a slapback, And the person that got me into slapback was Robin Ford, okay? I'm not going to make a lie of it. Robin Ford pretty much always used to slapback, especially from his Supernatural album, late 90s. Started using slapback a lot with his Telecaster, and I really loved it. And so I started using slapback on everything. And then with the Coodercaster, the slapback, because I had slapback always on, I just used slapback with the Coodercaster. It just sounded amazing. So that's the reason I use slapback. And then I heard Ry Cooder's latest album called Prodigal Son, or whatever, and he's using slapback. Now, Ry Cooder didn't always use slapback, but certainly recently he's a real big slapback junkie. And I was already using slapback. So Ry Cooder it just made me think slapback for slide guitar is definitely a great thing. So if you're using a Coodercaster, I highly recommend getting a slapback. Boss delays are amazing. Just buy a Boss delay. Boss pedals. I'm a big fan of Boss pedals. Okay, let's just wrap this up, guys. Jeff says, my fingers have given me the nickname Lord Cumberland so that Steve Howe Pace eludes me. Worldwide Ghost says, are you into jump blues? Yeah, I'm into, if we're talking that kind of 50s era, I love that. I love a lot of jump blues, and there's some great Magic Sam. Would we classify him as jump blues? But Magic Sam's a big fan of Magic Sam. So here we go. Right, here we go. We're going to wrap this up with a few last comments. Yusuf Kasim says, the Iron Man from Tone King is an attenuator that uses actual transformers to retain the tone. It retains the tone as you attenuate. It's amazing. Thanks, man, for the suggestion. I'll look into that. Next, Billy Gibbons' tone is the benchmark. Billy Gibbons is a man. He's an incredible, guitar player, songsmith, singer. How can you not like ZZ Top? Incredible. Levin of Pill definitely influenced the Edge. So Pill, we're talking about, is that Public Image Limited, Johnny Rotten, yeah? My friend Justin Adams, who plays for Robert Plant, again, I'm going to name drop. But Justin, a very good friend of mine, an amazing guitar player. And he plays with those guys from Pill. So they must be very good because Justin's an amazing guitar player. Deja says, cool hangman, Keith from 5 Watt World has started to live stream too. You've taught him well. Yeah, man, Keith, God bless Keith. God bless Keith. He's good. We like him. We like Keith. But yeah, I released the videos first. I was first before Keith. I'll go on record. Stratman says, I was so impressed when Billy Gibbons played with Les Paul. He showed just how versatile he is. Played with Les Paul. Yeah, Les Paul. Okay, so let's I'm going to show you one last thing. Okay, guys, we're going to end. We're going to end with a Les Paul. So, this is something interesting. I was having this debate because recently I've got to actually not liking playing Les Paul guitars. And so one thing I love to do on Les Pauls is play Django on a Les Paul, because my philosophy was Les Paul designed the Les Paul, right?
The people.
For the people.
By the people.
Right. So Les Paul designed the Les Paul. And who was Les Paul's biggest influence? Well, one of his biggest influences was Django Reinhardt. So my theory goes, if you play Django on a Les Paul, it's got to be good, right? So let's do that. Let's play some Django Reinhardt. Let's see if I can get this backing track up, and I'll play you out with a song called Rose Room, which was actually recorded by the Benny Goodman Band and Charlie Christian. And maybe, I don't know who did it first, but I think, well, obviously Benny Goodman recorded it first. But then Django did a version of it. So, Django Reinhardt, minor swing. Maybe that's a new way of using a Les Paul guitar. So let's try this out. Here we go. What's going on here with the sound? Let's see if we can get this happening. Okay, so that was, we just ended there on a Django Reinhardt song. And I'm just thinking, so Les Paul designed the Les Paul, and Les Paul was a massive Django Reinhardt fan. And I think there needs to be more Django Reinhardt played on a Les Paul guitar, you know. And so that's just kind of a thought I had a couple of days ago. It's like, you know, why isn't more, you know, I know Macaferries were Django's guitar, but what about the Les Paul? Because, you know, Les Paul, Django, Les Paul, Django. Just my thoughts there. Guys, it's been amazing hang today. You've been incredible. Some amazing comments. We are going to do the stream next time because this is the coffee chat itself. We're going to do the coffee chat. The next video is going to be this one. The next video, guys, is going to be all about these amps. Well, the originals, the Dumble's amps. That's the next video. So God bless you all. Stay safe. And we're going to touch base again real soon on the next coffee chat. Well, I'm going to try and make this a regular thing so that you kind of know what time I'm going to do this one, rather than the sort of the way I've been doing it at the moment, which is kind of giving you 1 hour's notice. But we'll try and do this as a regular thing. And Bob and Ron show is going to be back pretty soon, and we're going to do lots of cool history videos. History of Dumble amplifiers is next. The history of Albert King's guitars is after that. Then we've got the making of All Things Must Pass, George Harrison. And thanks to Dave Gillen for suggesting that one. We're also going to do Richie Blackmore pretty soon, and Paul Kossoff with some other guys as well. So stay tuned, lots of cool history videos coming up. And until then, guys, stay safe, eat some good food, get some nutrients, and do some exercise. Don't drink too much alcohol. And God bless, and see you soon. Take care. All the best.